Hey guys, what's up, it's Kubus here. Today I've got for you a game created thanks to crowdfunding. Here is my review of Project Cars. You could think that there isn't much to talk about the design of a sim racing game. You just put some tracks and cars in your game and you're done. And that's probably what Slightly Mad Studios was thinking when they began to make this game. And if you were only to consider this, the Project Cars covers all the bases. There are dozens of real tracks from all over the world and a lot of different cars ranging from the simplest go-karts to racing monsters. On top of that, you have a possibility to adjust your car to each race. Depending on track or weather conditions, you can set it up just right to get that extra edge that may make all the difference between winning or spinning in the first corner and crashing your car. But there are problems with more elaborate things. First, the whole interface is a mess. While racing, when you have a flying start or exit the pits, you don't get the notification when will you regain the control over the car. Then you have the interface. All the menus are utterly complicated and non-transparent, so you can never find whatever you were looking for, and during the races the communicates from the pit crew often cover up your dials, which may be frustrating. Another thing that isn't spot on is a game balance. I know how it sounds in a game that is supposed to be a simulator, but bear with me. Not only online races are a lottery, as you never know which dirty actions of your opponents are going to be punished, but the cars are also divided in groups. These are mostly organized correctly, but there are a few that I still can't figure out, like McLaren F1 and Ariel Atom being in the same group. Last thing I need to mention is that Project Cars fails to create a festive atmosphere of racing. It feels like if you were taking part in a track day, especially as pits are empty with almost no crew members wandering around and trying to provide you with support. I'm not saying you're on your own, but you just don't get to see them. A thing that was done very well by F1 games from Codemasters. Overall, Project Cars covers all the bases in terms of design, but it could use some improvements. That's why I award it with 6 points out of 10 for its creative direction. Technically, the game is clearly better. It runs at native 1080p and 60 frames per second, delivering a really good quality of the visuals, especially when you fiddle around with the time of day, speed at which time passes and the weather. Driving in heavy rain on Brands Hatch, starting at night with artificial lights and seeing the sunrise is one of the best visual effects I've seen this generation, especially in racing games. Car models are equally good, but unfortunately the lack of people around the track sort of spoiled this wow effect. But there are 3 complaints I have about the technical side of Project Cars. First is the steering. It takes some time getting used to, as it seems like if it had lag, both when you start turning the wheel and straighten your driving line. It isn't something extremely bad, but you will definitely notice that. Another issue is the physics. It seems all realistic and such, but quite often you will encounter an error in physics calculations, which will cause you to crash and pretty much lose the race. I think that it is totally unacceptable. Good thing is that it doesn't happen that very often, but still it shouldn't happen in Sim Racer at all. And the last thing applies only to multiplayer. Overall it works good, but every few minutes the game freezes for a fraction of the second. It seems to be completely random and not caused by anything, and it seems to appear only in multiplayer. Considering everything that I've just said, I award Project Cars 7 points out of 10 for its technicalities. For the first time since I've launched this channel, I have an opportunity to review a game that was crowdfunded. Creators of Project Cars raised the money themselves and delivered a working product. Even the cars in the title stand for Community Assisted Racing Simulator. Unfortunately, they didn't do the best work in terms of keeping the promise which they made to contributors. Yes, the game looks very good and is a realistic simulator. They did deliver on their most crucial promises, although it is clear they didn't keep the quality as you would expect from guys with that much experience. That's because there are pledges that they didn't fulfill. The most important is releasing this game for Wii U. It was in development for a long time alongside the versions for PC, Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Then all those came out, but not the one on the Nintendo console. Time was passing and the devs kept saying that it's still coming and it's still running great at this little hardware from Japan. After a few months they just gave up and cancelled the Wii U version. The official story is that it had performance issues. Where PS4 and Xbox One ran at 1080p and 60 FPS, the version for big end console was supposedly struggling to keep 30 frames per second at 720p. Okay, I understand that there is a gap in performance between those consoles, but if it's this big, I am certain they knew it much earlier in the development. And for keeping up the lie, maybe being afraid that people would cancel their support, is a little sketchy. Especially that for the same reasons versions for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were dropped much earlier. I've heard that they were willing to refund people who supported them and awaited the version for Wii U, but I don't know if that really happened. For all Nintendo fans, right now developers just say that they await the announcement of a next console from this company. But enough about that, let's talk about things that are available. There are 23 DLC items available, each being one of 3 categories: additional cars, paint jobs or racetracks. There are 8 cars and 5 paint job sets available for free, so that's definitely a plus. But then there are yet another developer who decided to put them in packs that you have to buy and download separately. Maybe it is so they can brag about the free DLC, but Rockstar can somehow do it inside free updates that download and install automatically. But on top of that there are 10 paid packs that will set you back around $45. And what's interesting, each of expansions with the cars have 3 or 4 cars instead of being separate items like the free ones. So that's even more obvious that they wanted it all to look more appealing for a potential customer. And just one more thing. If you are still planning on buying this game, be aware that on PlayStation 4, the platform that sold the biggest amount of units, there are problems to find people to play with online. Taking it all into account, I think that Project Cars deserves 6 points out of 10 for its business side. In the end, it all looks like this venture was a little underfinanced, which produced a game that looks like a diamond fresh out of ground, with great potential only if devs and publisher had more resources to finish it off. That said, I reward Project Cars a total score of 19 out of 30 points. Thanks for watching, that's all for today. If you liked this review, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to follow Is It Patched on Facebook. And if you find my channel useful, please share it with your friends as it means a lot to me.